For July the 2nd to order. We have a relatively short agenda. We have four items that were before the Planning Commission or the planning staff, and then the resolution that we will deal with separately. So let me read these four items that we'll consider as a consent agenda. And then if we need to pull one of them, then we will talk about it individually. RS 2012-331, resolution sponsored by McGuire, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Property to exercise an option to purchase real property for the use and benefit of the Metropolitan Nashville Public Schools. And that was administratively approved by the staff on 6/14. BL 2012-184, sponsor is Allen. An ordinance to amend the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance map by abandoning a portion of the 25th Avenue South right-of-way and easements. And that was administratively approved by the staff on 6/18. BL 2012-185, sponsor McGuire and Hunt. An ordinance authorizing the acquisition of a sewer line easement on property located at 1114 Brookmead Drive, administratively approved on 4/3. And BL 2012-99, sponsor Moore, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance by amending the SP district for the previously approved H&M Motors specific plan district located at 1525 4th Avenue South to permit auto sales new, auto sales used, auto service, and all uses permitted by MUL-A zoning, and to remove the condition for a sidewalk along Mallory Street. And that was approved with conditions on 126. Are there any of those that we need to, Councilor Evans?
Can I pull off, is it 331, the Hobbs Road acquisition?
331.
Yes.
Okay, we'll pull 331. Councilor Allen?
Point of order, 21299 has an amendment. Do we need to pull it out to talk about the amendment?
Or just...
I think...
That's sponsored by Councilmember Moore.
You have to pull it off.
Do we have an amendment on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just got...
Councilor Moore, do we have...
Yeah, it's in the amendments packet.
Okay.
It's the same amendment that's been there the past two meetings. It's the
Okay.
carryover.
All right. So we'll pull that one off then.
If we need you to consider the amendment, I'm just checking on how it works.
Do we need to, John? Do we need to do that in committee?
The committee doesn't have to make a recommendation on the amendment, we can.
But if we keep it in the consent agenda, then we're not making a statement about the amendment at all. I think you'd like for us to make a statement about it. I think we'd like to talk about that one.
Okay. All right. So we'll pull 331 and 99. So that leaves us with RS 2012-184 and 2012-185 as consent items. Yes.
I'd like to move the bill for 1,000 Apex off the list also.
Okay. We didn't, that's not on,
Didn't put on it good.
no. We'll deal with that one separately.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so 184 and 185 we're voting on as a consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. Those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's consent agenda passes. All right. Bill 2012-131, option to purchase real property for the benefit of the Metropolitan Public Schools. Councilor Evans.
Got it. Okay. I'd like to move to defer this indefinitely, as we did in budget and finance, so that we're on the same page there, to have an opportunity for some community dialogue about schools' plans for Julia Green, and to get some questions answered.
All right. So do you want to do the same indefinite deferral?
Yeah, I'd like to just track with what budget and finance is doing, yes.
All right. All right, motion made and seconded to defer indefinitely 2012-131 to track with the recommendation of the Budget and Finance Committee. Any questions, discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes to defer indefinitely. All right, we'll move to RS 2012-333, which did not go before the Planning Commission. This is a resolution for council approval only. It approves the property at 1000 Apex Avenue to be used for a waste transfer facility. Councilman Maynard.
I defer to the sponsor first.
Okay, Councilman Davis.
I would like to move for a disapproval with a brief explanation, sir.
All right. Motion made to disapprove. Go ahead.
Just as a point of clarification, there are some parties that have been involved with this, some outside former influential figures in my district. I'm in disapproval of this. I've been in disapproval of this, since after our community meetings, and I just want to make that clear for the record. And I'm going to move for disapproval, and I appreciate everyone's time and spent on this matter, but please vote with me. This is my district, and my people overwhelmingly don't like this resolution.
Councilman Maynard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I respect Councilman Scott Davis and see him as not only a colleague, but also a friend, and he has to do what's in the best interest of the district which he serves. He has heard from the district, and he has determined that he can no longer support this resolution. I wanted to speak on this because there were so many things that have been said that are untrue and unfounded, and I wanted to then publicly state why I am voting against the motion to disapprove. Several years ago, when I bought my house in 1999, the neighborhood that I live in, we've got some lots that are empty, some houses that have been abandoned, some been used by crack dealers and crack users, others where there have been illegal dumping of tires, refrigerators, things like that. And we have worked hard to make sure the neighborhood stays clean. We've worked hard to make sure those illegal dumps get removed, working with codes, working with Public Works and the police. Unfortunately for me in 2000, my neighbor moved out to California. His grandfather built a house, he died. The father lived there, died. The grandson was there, and the grandson decided to take an opportunity at the job in California. For the first 2 years, it was okay because I was able to cut the grass, but the kids began to call the house the haunted house and began to throw rocks into the windows. We were able to get codes out there. We were able to get the windows boarded up. But that was a mistake because once the windows were boarded up, everybody knew the house was abandoned. And so then we started having drug dealers come to the house, come up the driveway, go around to the back of the house. I called the police over 25 times because of drug dealing, drug use. My house was broken into twice. I then had the problem that prostitutes were taking their johns behind there. I took my baseball bat, would go up the hill, go behind, and at night try to scare the daylights out of them. It was the second time that my house got burglarized that was enough. We were able to get codes, and we were able to get the house demolished. I say that because as soon as we were able to get the house demolished, we had people who said that it had historic values and went to Historic Commission and said, we would like for you not to demolish the house because it has historic value. And I said, well, you guys didn't talk to me. I have to live here. My house has been broken into. I'm dealing with all the crime. I'm dealing with all the dumping that's going on. I'm dealing with all those issues. And so the Historic Commission reviewed it and did not approve it. And the house was demolished. And we were able to put things in front of the drive so that you can't get back there. I've not had any problems since. When I was asked to support this waste station, I said, before I can support it, Chair, I said, I need to go and see what it looks like and talk to the neighbors. When we went to the site, I saw an illegal dump site. That illegal dump site had tires, refrigerators, couches, graffiti, all those things. We went and talked to the neighbors right adjacent to the property. They were right there on the porch. They pointed out where a woman had been raped They pointed out where drug dealing had been done. They pointed out where crime had been done. And you could see all the trash and all the garbage. I then wanted to get a police report. We contacted the police department, asked for a police report, in which I said in my letter, over 1,000 calls have been made to this area over the last 6 months. Over 162 people have been arrested over the last 6 months in the Apex site area for drug dealing and prostitution. What do we say to the neighbors when we don't approve of this land being transformed from a blighted area filled with crime, filled with dumping, filled with all kind of problems? What do we say to the neighbors? Keep waiting, that this is not a good option, that the option of having a waste transfer site is worse than having drug dealing and having rapes and having crime and all of the illegal dumping? How long do the neighbors wait? And what do we say to them? How long should they wait? I understand that there are compelling reasons not to have a waste transfer station there. I get that. But when you talk to the neighbors and the 263 people who actually signed these petitions, they're stating that they want something done there. And my hat goes off to Councilman Davis as I close. I have tremendous respect for him to get a death threat, which to me is an offense not only to him, but an offense to this body. That we can't deliberate and talk as a civilized way, that we can't have a debate and say there are pros and cons, and he's heard from his district, but then to demonize the different council persons because they've gone to the area and talked to the neighbors, and they've talked to the neighbors that support it. You know, whenever this vote goes down, I believe that's what this body is about, looking for solutions. If this is not the right solution, so be it. But I am going to vote no on Councilman Davis's motion, because how long should those residents wait? To me, 1 day longer is to ask too much. I've heard somebody say there's odor. I heard someone say, well, they got trucks. Well, I would just ask every council person, what is worse? To have all the crime that's going there and the legal dumping that's going there? What is worse, or having a waste transfer station? Now, we've gone and visited the other waste transfer station that's out in the Antioch area. There's no odor. There's no smell whatsoever. I'm voting no. And so I'm doing that for the reasons I've just articulated. I'm just glad that Councilman Davis and I had an opportunity to talk and dialogue in a civilized manner, and I respect you tremendously on this. There were a lot of lies. I was going to take some maneuvers and stuff like that. Complete lies. I told him how I was going to vote. I said, I respect you tremendously, that I was going to vote for it. And he and I said, we just are friends that disagree. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments? That was an awesome house. Councilman Davis.
And I'll echo half of what Councilman Maynard said. We are friends that disagree on this one particular matter. Yes, the Apex area is dangerous. I'm not going to lie. And yes, it's got some dumping issues. However, though, I've been fighting with the owner of this property in environmental court and other areas, and calling codes, of course, calling the police, and doing what every citizen should do for this area. But right now, it's a divisive issue in my district. And I went and I've called up about 100 of those phone numbers on that petition that we all got this weekend. And they had some concerns, but they also understood that not every neighbor is for this. And the 230 people that signed that petition, 20 of them don't live in my district, which is fine, but I have 600 emails and more phone calls of people that are against this. And it's a lose-lose either way for me. But the best decision so that we all can sleep at night, I feel, is that we must disapprove this. And once again, Councilman Maynard does not want to dump trash on East Nashville. He does not. He's concerned about those citizens who have to deal with this building, just like we all are. And out of this process, this is not the best solution. You can't, take the first date that comes to you. I mean, you got to wait for the other person. I mean, you got to. And and I urge everyone to please vote with me in disapproving this. Thank you.
Are there any other, Council Lady Evans?
I'm going to vote with you, and I want to make sure I'm voting right. Your motion is to disapprove, so we need to vote aye, correct?
He has made a motion that we disapprove the request.
So we.
And so if we're voting aye, we are voting to disapprove.
Against the waste transfer station?
Yes.
Okay, I hate negative motions.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to say is they are, if we approve it, or if your motion fails, which is unlikely, their next step would be to the BZA. Are they asking for any variances from the Board of Zoning Appeals in addition to just the?
Actually, if we disapprove, it ends.
Okay,
If we,
we don't disapprove.
if we were to table it or not take action on it
Right.
in some way, then it would go to the BZA.
Okay.
But if we disapprove, then it stops.
Okay, I don't want to confuse the issue with that, but are they also requesting some variances, Councilman Davis?
I believe that they are also requesting a variance because there's a distance requirement too, because they're counting from the parking lot, because you have some residential homes right across the street from there. And also it butts against Cleveland Park also, and they're going to be asking for a couple of variances too.
Okay, and what, are they going to need a variance from the street standard? Because that's a local street, right? Apex Avenue?
And my apologies. I believe that they're going to be asking for a variance due to the once again the distance
Okay.
to the residential area, and also the distance to the residential area that's facing the park. I will have to check on that and
Okay,
send that to
okay,
you.
okay. I'm not going to vote, I'm going to vote with you, so it's not important, but I guess I'm asking these questions to make the point about how it doesn't even meet the requirements of our zoning code, which is, a fundamental standard that we try and adopt. And I think Cleveland Park can do so much better if the choice isn't for this neighborhood between prostitution and drug abuse and a waste transfer station. I mean, that is not a choice. The choice is between what they have today and the beautiful place it will probably be in a very short period of time.
Anyone else? Council Lady Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Claiborne. And I don't want to put any other council members on the spot here, but I know that Councilman Westerholm and Councilman Anthony Davis are within close proximity to Councilman Davis's district, and I just was curious to know from them, did they receive any calls from people in support or in opposition to this as well, or emails?
Councilman Westerholm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In response to your question, I've received, I believe, 2 emails in favor and perhaps 1 or 2 phone calls. The opposition has been overwhelming. It's been over 300 emails, and everyone I've run into throughout the course of the weekend has been adamantly against this development.
Councilman Dominy.
Thank you, Chairman. I just need to address a couple of things. I appreciate Councilman Maynard coming to the 28th District to check out the waste facility there. I have to differ with him based on residents all along Antioch Pike where that facility is located. There is an odor. In fact, I've had calls up as late as 11 o'clock at night with people having difficulty breathing because of the chemicals in the air. But I know that the waste transfer facility there does make an effort to clean up along there, the street in front of them, but there is often, and most often, an odor that goes along with the waste transfer facility. If there's a way to avoid it, I'd love to know, because I'd love to be able to apply that at the one there in my district.
All right, I don't see any other requests to speak. Council Lady Allen.
I'll just follow up on one thing Council Lady Evans asked about. There is a size requirement. It should be 10 acres, and it's only 6 point something or other acres. And there's also, you can't be on a local street as opposed to a collector, and it is, Apex is a local, McFerrin is the collector. So there are at least 2 things in addition to the distance requirement that doesn't meet. So I support Councilmember Dave.
Thank you. All right. The motion is to disapprove RS 2012-333 for the waste transfer facility at 1000 Apex Avenue. And a vote aye is a vote to disapprove. A vote no is a vote against disapproval in favor of approving. So those in favor of disapproving. Any opposed? Okay. Vote is to disapprove. Moving on to 2012-99, sponsor Moore, amending the zoning ordinance relative to H&M Motors Specific Plan District located at 1525 4th Avenue South to permit auto sales new, auto sales used, auto service, and all other uses permitted by MULA zoning to remove the condition for a sidewalk along Mallory Street. Councilor Moore.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say to the viewing audience that I have met with the applicant, Mr. Samadi, and we have resolved the issue of paying into the sidewalk fund, and there is an amendment to this bill that will be offered tomorrow night as well. So I just wanted to make sure that that the viewing audience know that there is an amendment to this.
All right, good. Any questions? Those in favor of 2012-99? Any opposed? Motion passes. Any other items to come before the committee? We are adjourned. Thank you.